Good morning, everyone. Let's jump right into this. Let's have a little conversation about xylitol, Rob. We've been talking about xylitol. Xylitol is found in a lot of products. It's found in chewing gum.
I'm very upset, Mark. I'm very upset about xylitol and these articles that were coming out recently. So why don't you dive into it a little bit?
All right, well, let's talk about what the benefits of it. It's found in chewing gum. It's found in most toothpaste. It's been around, I think, since the 80s. Xylitol. It's a product that's been around maybe late 70s. It's really helpful in increasing salivary flow in the mouth. It's helpful in raising the pH, so making the mouth less acidic. And also its involvement in remineralization of tooth structure, reducing bacteria. Unfortunately, there's been some bad press about it lately. So let's jump into some of the bad press that we've been hearing.
We are supporters of xylitol dental products. Xylitol is a sugar that replaces the normal sugars that are sweetened, that are put into things like chewing gum or mints or toothpaste to add flavor to them. And the difference between xylitol and an artificial sweetener or sugar is how many carbons it has in the ring, right? So the sugars that are used for sweeten and artificial sweeteners have 6 carbons in the ring. Xylitol has 5. What that means is that a bacteria can take in the xylitol but cannot digest it beyond that point. So the sugar, the xylitol, goes into the bacteria.
Remineralizes
the bacteria cannot digest it. It kicks it out, and then it takes it in again. What the bacteria is doing, because it's simply an energy pathway, it comes in and out, in and out, in and out, and it actually energetically depletes the bacteria and kills it. This happens it only targets the bacteria that causes cavities, strep mutans. So why xylitol is great is that it makes things taste pleasant or palatable, like a mint or gum, and it kills the bacteria that causes cavities, where sugar or artificial sweeteners can actually be digested by the bacteria that cause cavities. But you don't think about like sugar-free gum helping decay because it increases saliva and it's not as digestible as the normal sugars that are used. But artificial sweeteners are not that good compared to xylitol for your dental health because, of course, it can be absorbed by the bacteria. The difference
xylitol is also found in, it could be in artificial sweeteners also. You could use xylitol in your coffee.
You could, but you almost shouldn't.
Effect.
You shouldn't, right? So that's the whole conversation. That's a perfect segue, because when found using xylitol in baking or in cooking to replace it with sugar, the problem with xylitol is it can somewhat be absorbed and also not fully absorbed. So it primarily acts as a laxative when over-consumed. Now, the study that came out had individuals drinking 30 plus grams of xylitol in a beverage at once.
So take a step back. So the study is showing a correlation to cardiovascular disease, increase of stroke by intake of xylitol.
Right, because xylitol, they're saying the levels were taken up into your body. The answer is this, that the studies that were done were sloppy science, in our opinion, and not just our opinion, in many people's opinion at this point, that got picked up by the media and put out there like caution xylitol. So it's a headline, but the dosage that you're using in toothpaste, which you're not ingesting toothpaste typically, in chewing gum or mints, is less than 1 gram.
Right, so
less than 1 gram.
And you can easily take 6-7 grams a day and have no effect on your body if you would choose 6 or 7 pieces of gum, and you're not ingesting this.
And you're not even doing that many grams, because it might be 0.2 to 0.5 grams per dosage. So it's,
one thing that you mentioned that I thought was a great analogy was you take 2 Advils, it's fine.
Tylenol,
Or Tylenol, but you wouldn't take the whole bottle of Tylenol.
Right. So if you take 20 or 30 Tylenol, you will get liver failure and die within 24, 48 hours. So we have to always remember, in medicine and in everything, the dose makes the poison. Mm-hmm. There's a therapeutical benefit at a proper dose used properly. If you misuse something, you're at risk, like everything. What the articles and the news clips that, we saw some news clip from a dentist in like Boston talking poorly about xylitol. And it's like, can you please go into the article and read the science, read how it was done, find out more information about it, and realize that for some reason this article got put out there. And let's not go deeper into that, because we'll stay in our lane here.
It even says that the article is not conclusive evidence. I read through the article. It's a poorly written article.
Two things right out of here.
tank
Xylitol
is good.
Used properly is beneficial for your dental health. Secondly, be cautious about where you're consuming your information from. Instagram, TikTok, social media. Your friends might send you a clip from an influencer about to lay on this mat and it's going to help you live longer, or do this. Understand the science. If you're not sleeping well, if you're not exercising, and if you're not getting the proper nutrition, I wouldn't think about the extra sprinkle stuff that may or may not
You're
hurt.
doing everything else
saying?
wrong, and you're concerned about brushing your teeth with a xylitol toothpaste.
If you could make sure you're taking care of yourself and foundational health, that's going to matter. The other little things probably aren't the thing. Right. So I think spending your effort and energy on the foundational things that are important for your health, flossing, brushing,
staying hydrated,
using the right products, not using the wrong products, and being careful to not, jump into these kind of one-off things that you hear or see. People are after your clicks, right? People are after your clicks. In the news article, they're trying to get you to click onto things.
Interesting enough, this article came out in the New York Times.
Yeah, well, I think the New York Times makes more money on games now than news.
People playing Wordle.
Right? That Wordle game.
So.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, so let's jump into a question that a few patients asked us since our last talk, and it's something that we then encounter in the practice weekly, and it's someone's chipping their front teeth, right? Little chip, big chip, and it may be the first time they chipped it, and they're starting to now chip their teeth more often, and people are wondering, well, what caused it? I don't remember biting into a specific thing, or then sometimes it is from biting. So let's just talk about what causes your front teeth, upper lower teeth, to start chipping, either spontaneously or as you age.
I notice sometimes they don't even know they're chipping.
Right. So one thing is movement of your teeth, and your bite changes over time. Right. That's one of the most common things we see in our practice, is that somebody is having some shifting. Your teeth shift over time. Your teeth do wear next to each other, right? Not just opposing teeth wear one another, but the teeth touching. As you bite, they're shifting differently and they're touching each other, and the spaces then wear down. So one theory is that there's a shifting and forward pressure of our teeth to keep our teeth together, aligned together, not aligned in a straight shape as we may define that, to prevent food impaction and things getting caught in your teeth. So there's a forward shift of all of our teeth, resulting in crowding.
So it's usually the lower incisors are going to start shifting first, and then that's going to affect the upper teeth, and then the posteriors start moving. Patients will complain about spaces between their teeth. Contacts will start opening. And this is all easy remedy to fix this. It might be orthodontics.
Right. So one thing is, like you said, teeth shifting, which a solution could be orthodontics, right? So that's one thing. The other thing that is the difference that you and I try to explain to our patients, and I hear you next door all the time saying how your front teeth are different than your back teeth functionally, right? Because you bite compressive forces on your back teeth, and there's lateral forces. I hear Mark say this once a week, at least to a patient. You're like, I see you with the pen and just showing
drawing
them
little pictures.
Yeah. Your front teeth are lateral forces, and our teeth are made of enamel and dentin, which are crystalline structures that are brittle with lateral forces. And so over their cyclically loaded, over a certain number of years or decades, they start to weaken the structure. They start chipping. So sometimes people have a healthy bite, but the teeth are getting weaker.
I mean, you can have, like you said, a healthy bite. The teeth are properly aligned, and you still have clenching and grinding that's going to contribute to fracturing or splitting these teeth also.
So when your teeth are shifting and moving, one treatment could be orthodontics. When that's not on the table or a patient's not interested, when a tooth chips, we have to repair the chip. So we kind of two options, generally speaking, right?
A little bit of cosmetic bonding to bond it.
So bonding is what? Bonding is filling material.
It's a filling material. It's a plastic material. It's placed in one visit. It's a lot more conservative. However, it's held on by mechanical retention, and it can easily chip similar to your natural tooth that chipped.
Right, because typically you're losing enamel. So the material can chemically bond to the enamel, but as the chipping occurs, the dentin's exposed and it bonds less strong because the enamel has less hydration than dentin. Dentin has more hydration. You can't chemically bond to something that's wet.
So if the size of the chip is larger, the bonding's not going to work. And that's when you're going to move into more definitive restoration, a veneer or a crown, something that's going to cover the teeth, give some more retention, better bond strength, more longevity. What I noticed though is when one tooth chips, before I go to repair that tooth, you kind of want to see what's going on in the mouth, right? You can fix that tooth and you say, oop, the one next to it now broke. So you can't just address that one tooth. Like you said, let's get back to why these teeth are chipping. Is it orthodontics? Another reason is a patient might be missing a tooth in their mouth, right? Then everything's going to shift even more forward.
Or those teeth will have to be doing more work. Right. So the solution could be bonding or a veneer crown. It doesn't mean that the veneer crown is less conservative, right? In some of these instances, when we have a patient who's continuously chipping their teeth, a larger restoration volumetrically is actually the more conservative long-term approach over the life of that tooth. Because as we've noticed with some of our patients, as if a small chip and we do bonding, and then a year or two later, the chip gets bigger, and we do another bonding, a year or two later, the chips get even bigger, and then you're a few years out, and you have less tooth than you would have if you would have done the veneer sooner.
So you're saying if you do the veneer later, it's not always the better solution.
Right, because then you almost have to sometimes go from a bonding to a crown instead of being able to do a veneer, which is more conservative than a crown and preserves more natural tooth surface, because sometimes we can design a veneer very conservatively.
Right, minimal tooth preparation.
So we talk with our patients about these situations. It's a case-by-case basis. If you have a chipped tooth, it doesn't mean you should get one or the other. It means that we can look at it, see what's causing it and what the solutions are, and also philosophically what's your appetite for it, because some people don't mind coming in once a year for a chip. I have patients that do that routinely. They have a lot of chips on their teeth because of their bite the way it was and their habits and whatever else, and they're okay coming in once a year for a few bondings.
What's the effect? You start fixing these with bondings in the front. If you leave them, you start seeing breakdown in the posterior, in the back of the mouth, if you leave these chips, right? Because now you have more compressive forces in the back of the mouth.
Yeah, the chip can create more energy. So at the least, if you wanted to do nothing, no bonding, no restoration, just polish it. Just polish it. As it's more chipped, you create more friction, and restorations or teeth that create more friction have more break and more wear on the opposing teeth. I had a patient this week who they chipped their front tooth, like what you and I would define too big to walk around in, and they wanted to leave it. I said, well, it's not really the best thing. They'd say, well, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I'm past that point in my life.
We talk about our anterior teeth. It's the front 6 teeth on the upper and the lower. It's not just the front tooth. What I find difficult is when the person breaks the canine, the eye tooth, and the tip is worn down.
Done.
So when that's worn down,
Yeah.
that tooth is protecting the posterior teeth. So when the patient slides to the side, these canine teeth come together and separate the posterior teeth.
It's the most functional tooth in your mouth is your canine.
Right. So when that tip wears off from grinding or chipping, now when the patient goes into that lateral movement, the posterior teeth start interfering or breaking, right? And now sometimes you go to make these posterior restorations, you have to make them kind of flat because otherwise they're going to bang into each other. So there's always a harmony between the anterior teeth and the posterior teeth. Right? The anterior teeth are protecting the posterior teeth. So when we have this chipping of the anterior teeth, the posterior teeth are compromised also.
It's more than just the chip sometimes. Sometimes it's more than just a chip.
Sometimes it's a small chip and you banged it
Many
with
times
a
it
fork
is.
or you hit it with your toothbrush and it's an accident and it can be repaired simple and it's not going to affect the rest of the mouth.
The one thing to dive into from this also is probably the other thing that we deal with our patients that's the biggest surprise to them around the same type of use degeneration of a tooth, use-provoked degeneration, which would be teeth that have sustained more chips and more wear and tear develop fractures. Okay, so so this is part of the reason why sometimes we want to, at least we err on the side of doing some type of treatment, even if it's just polishing something. Because as
You leave
teeth
those splinted edges.
sustain more force over time, they're more likely to lead to a vertical fracture. And unfortunately, when you have a vertical fracture along the tooth, the ligament in your body can sometimes note it, pull away, and your body attacks the tooth like it's a foreign object and causes almost like an infection, resulting in one solution.
Makes sense. I compare it to like a small crack on a windshield. You see a little chip from a rock, and then you'll see it expand and work its way through the windshield. So it's the same thing with a small chip. sometimes just polishing it is the answer. If it's a small chip, right? Just to make it smooth and it's less prone to fracturing.
Yeah, if you don't care about the way it looks, it doesn't really show that much. We don't mind just polishing something, but it's just harmful to maybe leave something without addressing it, because the windshield is a great analogy, because what a windshield goes through is temperature changes and stress as a vehicle is moving. The windshield is actually under, you hit a bump, the car flexes and it hits this flex. Same thing with the tooth is flexing, there's temperature changes, and these cracks in anterior or posterior teeth can go up the tooth or down the tooth.
You compare that to the mouth. What's the mouth going through? Temperature changes from drinking a cold glass of water,
flexing constantly
to a hot cup of coffee. Yeah. Now you're clenching on those teeth. Now you're putting some acid on them when you're eating orange. So they're constantly going through changes.
It's a very dynamic environment.
One thing is, though, sometimes these chips will just occur from parafunctional activity, clenching and grinding, where we just sometimes recommend a mouth guard or a night guard to wear at night to help minimize this.
Exactly. So it's like another solution may be polishing or doing a bonding or doing restoration. And then if orthodontics is not an issue, or orthodontics is not something a patient will do, to consider a night guard if it's part of a grinding pattern. And that's another conversation about grinding. How do you know you're grinding? Well, you may not know if you're grinding because the energy is being taken out on your teeth and you have no symptoms of it. So there are people who are grinding who aren't aware of it. There are people who are aware of it, muscle pain.
There's a lot of correlation when people come in and they're grinding, they have muscle pain. You'll find that there's neck pain, there's shoulder pain, and it's all related.
It seems like some people either know they're grinding, and if they don't know they're grinding, they may feel like they're not grinding.
Or their spouses are telling them that they can hear them at night.
Yeah. So something Mark and I have been talking more with our patients about is beyond just their mouth, but working with inflammation and their general health. And you guys, a lot of our patients may feel that we're shifting to develop more of beyond just the tooth, the chip, to taking care of the whole patient. Part of it was started before COVID. Mark and I started just talking more about, we're not just partners here in the practice, but we're also best friends. And so we started talking about our health more and what we're doing and paying attention to drinking alcohol and eating and supplements and everything. So you may find that we're talking more with our patients and talking with you about what else you're doing in your life that can correlate to your dental health, your stability, your overall health. So one thing that Mark and I do is we take a supplement every day. Most days we take AG1, no affiliation. I take it because a lot of the food we're eating doesn't have the supplements and the nutrients that it used to have, right? In mass farming, mass production, a piece of fruit, a vegetable probably doesn't have what it had 100 years ago in it, let's just say. So if you're not getting your foundational nutrients, that in the micronutrients that you would be getting normally from this item. So one thing we do is supplement. And so in this email that we'll send to everyone, our newsletter, there'll be some links to a few of the best supplement companies that we work with that offer discounts. Supplement industry is a little dirty. And so normally if you go to a pharmacy and you buy a bottle of something, there's not a high level of quality control on what's in that bottle. There's a huge variety. There's a great article about melatonin and how the differences of the actual dose compared to what the bottle said.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we should link to that article. And so the supplement industry is unfortunately unregulated, and 90-something% of it is an industry for financial benefit, not for health. We're linking to Thorne and Pure Encapsulations, which are the opposite of that. They are two companies that what they say is in it is in it. It's very high quality. And so they offer us and our patients pricing. We have no benefit from this. We have no benefit if you use this. A lot of people can link it on their website.
Was it Thorne?
Thorne and Pure Encapsulations are two companies that allow us to offer a discount to our patients. And so we're giving the full discount to our patients that they offer, whatever it is. I forget the exact number per company, but it's pretty significant. And these are two companies that, like I said, they make the best supplements on the market. I use some different ones from each of them daily.
What else are you using? You take a magnesium at night?
We can go into the whole thing, what I do daily, but we're gonna need another whole recording for that. But
save that.
My foundation is I do most days. I do take, like you said,
the AG1
is like my
me
foundational
too.
for my micronutrients. I will then take a methylated B vitamin, methylated folate vitamin. I take a certain magnesium in the morning, and omegas throughout the day. I will take theracumin from a different company a different company makes it, not curcumin, which helps with inflammation. The omegas help with inflammation. And then, yes, I will take at night glycine, another magnesium, maybe 2 different magnesiums, and then I'll sprinkle around some other stuff.
So you have one of those pill boxes already, right? Usually you get when you're like 70 years old.
I have a pill bin. Well, I have a supplement bin, and I'll dose as I need for certain things, right? A supplement is the right word because it's supplementing my foundation of what I'm doing. So I feel like there's no harm in doing that.
Supplement meaning
It's an addition.
you're eating healthy during the day. You're getting most.
Right. I'm paying attention to my macronutrients. I care so much about my sleep, as you know.
We eat the same lunch every day, so we got that down.
I'm measuring my HRV every morning. You wear your Oura Ring religiously, and so we're measuring the other things. So the supplements is a thing that I think supplementing for what you need is beneficial. Supplementing for inflammation is great. Omegas and theracumin or curcumin form are the 2 things that you can do, the lowest hanging fruit. 2 grams or more of omegas daily. And so I think supplementing is a good thing. Understanding with your physician, or you can talk with us about kind of what we think might be beneficial. We're going to start doing some testing in the office to understand what you could benefit from better.
I know you mentioned the Oura Ring. I know you wear your heart monitor when you're working out. Technology has really made it a lot easier for us to watch our body and watch our intake of what we're eating.
Yeah, and using it appropriately and understanding how you can use it. So I don't do well with the Oura Ring routinely. So what I mean by that is psychologically, I wear my Oura Ring, and if I wear it routinely, I have 2 small kids, and sometimes I get woken up at night, or I go to bed later than I should, or I wake up earlier than I want to, and my numbers aren't what I want them to be, and psychologically that affects me sometimes. So I know that I can wear it sometimes, and there's sometimes I give myself a break. I'm really religious about measuring my HRV in the morning using a device called a Morpheus. It's like less than $100 chest strap. I use it in the morning. You wake up, you put it on. It's 2.5 minutes.
How does that compare to the Oura Ring's measurement?
HRV is heart rate variability. It measures the distance between your beats. A specific part of the EKG it's measuring to be done properly. The Oura Ring is measuring beat to beat, which is a sloppy way, but also within itself accurate probably. The chest strap is actually taking an EKG on you continuously, measuring the part of the heartbeat, because your heartbeat is multiple.
Yeah, I'd like to see the
things
comparison what you get on the monitor compared to the ring. And
so you get a single snapshot measurement of your HRV when you wake up is more accurate than a 6, 7, 8 hour measurement, because there's a lot of noise in there. It's not
But you're
as
not
accurate.
sleeping with the measurement, are you?
You wake up. You wake
and you put it
like
on.
a lunatic. You put a chest strap on your chest when you wake up. So
I'm not there yet.
My wife thinks I'm crazy. No, I wake up. I lay down and I open the app. I breathe. I meditate. I give myself a moment, and I try to just stay calm.
It's about 4:30 now.
Yeah, right now. Usually 5:30. And so what happens is, what your HRV, if it's good versus bad, is measuring the different types of your nervous systems that it's affecting. So if you're stressed or tired, there'll be less variability. There'll be more consistent beat to beat if you're stressed, tired, or if the part of your nervous system that is more fight or flight is in there. Where if you're relaxed and healthy, there's more variability. So it's just a measure of health.
We could do a whole segment on the Oura Ring or your heart monitor. Yeah, you can get really into it. Yeah.
Okay, so stay cool, stay hydrated. Hope we have a great summer. We've been interacting with our patients, with all of you, a lot in the office about these recordings because we're trying to really connect with everyone. We talk with the front tooth chips. After enough patients talked with us about it in the office, let's bring it to this.
So many people have been coming to me, patients saying, "Oh, I love listening to your podcast," and giving us ideas what to talk about, and we're very open to that. So you can email at us at the office and dive into some of the topics that you may have that you want us to address.
Mark and I, we spend at this point a huge amount of our conversation about clinical dentistry, but we love this stuff too. We feel like this is a way, the thing that we talk about behind closed doors or with individual patients, and we do this because it's kind of like we love this.
We love our patients.
We just love taking care of people and having everyone's trust, and we feel that we want to control the information that you're getting. Also, we want to control the information you're getting, and and be able to give you what we feel is the right information about topics so that you're not getting misinformed and having the wrong action on misinformation. We want you to have the autonomy to make the decision that works best for you given a situation. So we're trying to do that. So if there's things that we're not addressing or touching on, just let us know, because we want to make sure that we give you what you're thinking about in terms of your health or aesthetics or anything maybe. So thank you for your time.
Well
thank
said.
you for
Thank
everything.
you. Have a great day.